Ah, yes, the deadly cold from standing in the rain for about 5 minutes strikes again. But okay, all jokes aside, this episode, it seriously just, it blew me away. Like, every single week when I watch an episode of Bunny Girl Senpai, I cannot believe what I'm watching. This seriously is one of the best series of this season, and honestly, one of the best slice of life series I think I have seen all year. And romance series. It's really freaking good. There's just so much quality packed in this series. It's unbelievable. I'm really tempted to pick up the light novel and start reading it because of just how good the story of this anime really is. The whole situation with Futaba and what she was going through is very relatable. And the answer to it was very relatable. And what Sakata said to Futaba at the end was also very relatable. There was just so many things that happen within this episode that I think many are going to be able to connect with, be able to understand from their own perspective. It might not be like, completely identical to the situation that Futaba was going through, but I feel like many are going to be able to understand the feelings she has, the thought of being alone, the thought of, just losing everyone and not having anyone around you, and having that anxiety to where you want to make sure you will have someone, at least in your life, to where you won't be all alone. It's just, there's so many things that happen within this episode that really just make you think. I mean, the situation with Futaba and how her two sides were. One side was very out in the open, trying to express herself, and then one side was very shy and just, one that was like an introvert and all that. And I really love how Futaba, her two sides, how they had to kind of come together and become as one again and realize that, they need to be a little bit more expressive, but they also need to still continue to be the person that also keeps everything to themselves as well. And that's a hard lesson she learned. She built up the courage to be able to face her fears and, ask for the things she wants. I mean, we see two instances in this episode towards the end. After Futaba disappears, the one that was a little bit more open, she tells Kunimi and all that, like, hey, I love you. We didn't actually get to see the words she said, but we could assume by the way all of that was done, by the way the fireworks were covering over the audio and all that, and she just says this word, and at first he didn't hear her, and I was like, are you serious? Is it really going to be this type of cliche? But then she gets closer and says it again. I'm like, yo, this really just shows how she has gained a lot of courage, and she's willing to say it again. She actually legit told, her crush, her feelings, like, I love you, and she's like, I don't want to really hear your answer. I know what it's going to be, and it'll probably make me sad and cry, so I don't want to hear it, but, she got it off her chest. She finally was able to tell the man her true feelings, which that showed how much she progressed from this arc, she received. And then there was the other moment where she had the courage to talk to her other self and, basically say, I'm going to the fireworks and all that, and then that's when they became one. It was a very great way to handle this arc. It was basically a character or an individual just having the courage to be themselves and not trying to hold back. And that's what Futaba learned. She learned that the hard way, and I'm proud of her. I really am. Because, I think the issue she has, it may have seemed simple to fix, but honestly, it's one of those type of issues that many have to face, and it's really hard to overcome, even though the way to fix it seems very simple. Look, she fixed it by just confronting her other self and saying, I want to go to the fireworks, and everything was fixed. But even though it seems like that would be simple, it really isn't. In reality, the type of situation where you lack confidence and you feel lonely and all that, that's not something that you can just easily overcome. It's not something that just disappears. It takes a long time to probably overcome something like that, to build up the courage, and there's many that really don't have the courage. Many might think from the outside to have courage, like, just go up there and just say how you feel. That's what they'll say. But, it's easier to say than to actually do. And for others, it's just that anxiety of building up to that very moment. And so I'm glad Futaba, she changed and she grew as an individual. I feel like after this entire arc, she's probably going to gain some feelings for Sakata. I really do. Because, I mean, Sakuta was there for her. He was someone that encouraged her. He was with both sides of her. Her very, herself that had the courage to just express herself. And he was also with the Futaba that was very shy and didn't want to really say much about herself. And I also really love a scene when she's in the bath and she's like, why are you constantly coming in here and, bugging me when I'm trying to take a bath? It's like, oh, I just want to be able to talk with you, and I know it's easier to talk when you don't see my face. And then we see the other instance where the Futaba that is very out in the open and just expressing herself, she's all alone. Her parents are gone. Nobody's there. She's always by herself, which feeds into the feelings that she has of being isolated. And, Sakuta being there really cheered her up. And when she was constantly asking, hey, Sakuta and all that, and he was like, I'm here, and he kept saying it over and over, it was a very great moment to show what type of individual Futaba was, and how, in one case, the Futaba that's been with Sakuta, the original we're used to, that Futaba was probably very content because she actually had a family around her, people that cared about her. She got to wake up with individuals just surrounding her. While the Futaba that had the house to herself, she was very lonely and didn't really have much. And when Sakuta arrived, that probably felt amazing for her. She's like, holy crap, this individual is coming to just help me out. And, technically, he doesn't really love me, and he just, is wanting to be a kind individual. It's just great. It's a great scene, it's a great arc, it's a great episode, and I think, what the writer was really trying to showcase here, they did the proper thing with Futaba's character. So, anyways, with all that being said and done, there is some stuff that goes on behind the scenes, like the whole situation with Sakuta and Mai, and how the relationship is effectively put on hold. It's sad, but this is another thing that the relationship's gonna have to go through. What Mai and Sakuta is going through is very realistic. It's something that is very real. It is something that happens. Like, I don't know how many of you are aware of this, but in Japan, people that become idols, they are technically contracted. Most of the time, they're contracted where they can't actually have a relationship, because the fans, they'll get very upset if their individual idol is taken by an individual. They'll just get really upset, and it could cause a lot of panic, issues, threats, and stuff like that. So, there's many times to where an idol's just not allowed to have a relationship. And so, seeing, Mai have this issue pop up with Sakuta, it's very realistic. It might seem crazy, but it is the truth that really does happen. And on top of that, even if, she was allowed to have a relationship, you gotta imagine her fans that really love her are probably gonna target Sakuta, trying to bring him down, expose him. And with the whole issue with the scars he has on his chest, how he was, kind of, pushed away in the school and all that for a long period of time, it's obviously gonna make him look bad if, people find out about this. It'll just ruin his reputation. Even though Sakuta wouldn't really care that much, Mai doesn't want to do that to Sakuta, and also, just the publicity for Mai, if that was to happen, wouldn't really be good. It would kind of tarnish her image. Since she just now got back into showbiz, she shouldn't just, start trying to cause conflict and stuff to really ruin everything. So she's having to stop, spending time with Sakuta in private. She's gonna have to be kind of a little bit more, by herself, not with him as much, and I feel like this is gonna be a big issue that they're gonna have to overcome, which I think they're going to be able to, because it's already shown time and time again that the relationship is very strong. It's something as minor as this is not really going to deter them and kind of ruin their relationship. Now, one last thing to get into, let's talk about the next arc, what to expect from this upcoming events after the ending credits. Yes, if you do not know, once this episode ends and, the credits start playing, there is a scene after it, so if you have not watched it, I do recommend you to stop this video and go watch it, because it is important for the next episode, the next arc. And I'm going to assume, judging by the way the ending sequence was done, like, with the whole situation with seeing the girl with the blonde hair wake up and all that, I'm assuming we're getting into a body swapping arc, and let me explain. We have that individual that wakes up at the end out of bed. She mentions Mai on TV. And we also know, I believe Mai mentioned she had like a sister, like a sister or stepsister or whatever in the first 2 episodes. So we know she has a family member, because when you look at the design of this blonde character, she is very reminiscent of Mai. She looks very identical, eye color and all that, facial structure. So you could pretty much assume that most likely she is related to Mai in some way. And also, the reason why I'm thinking it's a body swap is because the way the character just got up out of bed very shocked, it seemed like something that would, be similar similar to a body swapping situation, like whose body am I in and all that. Like, well, this is different. That's what I'm assuming, which definitely would complicate a lot of things between Maya and Sakuda's relationship, because if Sakuda just walks up to mine as someone else, that would be very weird, strange, and I can't imagine what's going to happen next. But yeah, that's my overall thoughts on this episode. I think it's going to be good if that is exactly where the next arc is going to be going. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.